The true story of how the Australian Army lost a war to flightless birds. In the history of warfare, humans have fought over land, religion, and resources. We have used tanks, planes, and missiles. But in 1932, the Australian military faced a new enemy. This enemy didn't have guns, it didn't have tanks, it didn't even have a flag. The enemy was a bird, specifically 20,000 emus. The Australian government declared war on these birds. They sent soldiers, they sent machine guns, they sent thousands of rounds of ammunition. And guess what? The birds won. This is the ridiculous true story of the Great Emu War. The Feathered Invasion. The year was 1932. Australia was in the grip of the Great Depression. In Western Australia, struggling farmers, many of whom were veterans of World War I, were trying to grow wheat. Just as the crops were ready to harvest, a massive army appeared on the horizon. It wasn't an invading country, it was 20,000 emus migrating from the interior of the continent to the coast. They saw the wheat fields and thought, buffet. The emus broke through fences, ate the crops, and ruined the water supplies. The farmers were desperate. They didn't call animal control, they called the Ministry of Defense. "We need machine guns," the farmers said. Surprisingly, the Minister of Defense, Sir George Pearce, said, sure. He thought it would be good target practice and a nice PR stunt. The army arrived. Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery arrived in the town of Campion with 2 soldiers, 10,000 rounds of ammunition, and 2 Lewis machine guns. Major Meredith was confident. They are just birds, he probably thought. We have automatic weapons used in World War I. This'll be over by lunch. He was wrong. The birds strike back. On November 2nd, the first battle began. The soldiers spotted a group of 50 emus. The locals tried to herd the birds into the firing line. Major Meredith ordered his men to open fire. Rat-tat-tat, rat-tat-tat. The machine guns roared. But something incredible happened. The emus didn't just stand there, they scattered instantly. They ran at speeds of 30 miles per hour, zigzagging in chaotic patterns. The heavy machine guns couldn't traverse fast enough to track them. After the dust settled, only a handful of birds were dead. The rest had vanished into the bush. Major Meredith was annoyed. He decided to set a trap. Guerrilla tactics. 2 days later, on November 4th, the soldiers prepared an ambush near a dam where 1,000 emus were heading for water. This was it, the perfect kill zone. The soldiers waited. The birds came close. The gunner pulled the trigger. Bang! Silence. The machine gun jammed. By the time they cleared the jam, the 1,000 birds had realized the danger and scattered. The soldiers managed to kill maybe 12 birds. It started to look like the emus had a strategy. Major Meredith noted in his official report that the emus had leaders, tall black birds that stood watch while the others ate, signaling when to run. He even admired them, saying, if we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. The emus were seemingly bulletproof. Their feathers were so thick and their bodies so tough that unless you hit them directly in the head, they kept running. One emu was hit 5 times and just kept running. The humiliation. The press began to mock the operation. One newspaper headline read, "War on Emus." After a week of fighting, Major Meredith's team had used 2,500 rounds of ammunition. The confirmed kill count, depending on who you ask, somewhere between 50 and 200 birds. That means it cost roughly 100 bullets to kill one bird. The Australian Parliament debated the issue. One politician asked if medals would be struck for the war. Another replied that the medals should go to the emus, since they had won every round. Humiliated,
the Minister of Defense recalled the troops on November 8th. The army withdrew. The birds remained in the fields, eating the wheat, victorious. Round 2, and defeat. The farmers begged for help again. The emus were destroying everything, so the military went back for a second try on November 12th. This time, they were slightly more effective. They mounted the machine guns on trucks to chase the birds, but the terrain was so rough that the gunner couldn't aim because he was bouncing around, and the emus were still faster than the trucks on the rocky ground. One truck actually crashed into a fence when an emu got stuck in the steering wheel. By December, the military gave up for good. Major Meredith claimed 986 kills with 10,000 rounds of ammo, but 19,000 emus were still alive and well. Epilogue. The winner? The Great Emu War of 1932 ended with a clear victor, the emu. The government eventually realized that bullets were too expensive. Instead, they introduced a bounty system, paying farmers to handle the problem themselves. This actually worked much better. But the legacy remains. It is the only war in history where a modern military force armed with machine guns officially lost to a flock of flightless birds. To this day, if you ask an Australian about the Emu War, they will sigh and admit, yeah, we lost that one.